Focus on the time. Focus on the time. High oxygen. Pure flush. Gauge manual mode. Low oxygen.
Welcome. You have opened the hatch with your listening device. Inside is another dimension. A dimension of weightlessness, a dimension of new sights, new sounds, new experiences. A dimension of total zen. You have entered the Deco Chamber.
Today we're going to do a video on how I like to set up my finger spools for running SMBs, etc. Before we do that, I want to talk about decompression interval gear. If you're looking for some dive apparel, check them out, decompressioninterval.com. We've got hats, rash guards, shorts, full clothing line. The rash guard I'm wearing right now, I've been loving, been wearing for about a month now. Material's great and the detailing is great. On here, they've put in the color chart for your advanced class and MOD chart and Dalton's triangle. Just go to decompressioninterval.com and check them out. For a brand new finger spool, some of the things you're going to need are lighter, a cutting instrument, a double ender, the spool, and for the way I like to set it up, you need to go to a craft store and find some acrylic beads in small size and a larger size. I didn't have an acrylic bead this large for this trim, so I found in my Save a Dive kit a winding handle off of an old reel that broke off. And then go to your local saltwater fishing store and find the high test barrel swivels for this. When you first get most reels, they're going to be really overspun. So you see none of the holes are actually usable. So the first thing we're going to do is take off about 20 feet line is what I like to take off. So do that. You can see how that opens up the holes for better use. If you want the holes more exposed, feel free to take more off of there. We're just going to trim that off, seal the ends. Excess line, don't throw that away. There's 1,001 uses. Put it in your Save a Dive kit and leave it there. Then you can take a little bit of line out that you can work with. A small bead, run it through that line, go through the larger bead, and then back through the small bead. Once you've done that, we're going to make a loop. I like 18 inches or so. That looks pretty good to me. There. Pull both beads to one end, and we're going to make just a simple overhand knot at the very end down here. And we're going to take that small bead and run it down to your first knot. We'll get to why I do that in just a minute. Then we're going to put a second knot right above that. This holds the small bead in place, and it also gives me a second knot because one is none and two is one. And we're going to come up here to the end, bring the large bead up, and maybe a thumb width or two down. We're going to put another overhand knot to keep that in place. nice. These two beads do a couple of things. One is if you are not particularly dexterous, barehanded, or even with gloves, you're going to need to put something through there. Most people, they make a little loop in the line. I don't like that because with gloves, I can't feel that. So I'm going to use that bead to push through and bring up, and this is how I'm going to attach my double ender, which we'll get to in just a second. The larger bead here at the end, once we attach the line to something, and secure it off, it gives me something substantial to purchase onto rather than a tiny piece of string. And it doesn't seem to get in the way at all for what purposes that I use it for. And what do we need the barrel swivel for? Anybody that's used a spool before knows that as you wind it up or set an SMB to the top, it twists, and you end up with this twisted line here and trying to untwist it, and it gets all kinked up. So we're going to install this barrel swivel in there so that as we're setting the SMB up or winding it up, it'll untwist automatically. So I'm going to go about 3 or 4 hand widths down. If you're using this for an SMB, you can actually put this at the 15-foot mark. It's up to you. I like it kind of close myself. So get about 3 or 4 hand widths down. What I like. Just cut it. Seal the ends again. And we're just going to run this down. Just another simple overhand knot. There, the end. And then the second one is again, 1 is none, 2 is 1. Feed that through. Put that up there. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. And as always, we'll go a second one. Now as the SMB is heading for the surface or you're winding the line up, it can spin without twisting the line up. To prep it for use, I'm sure you've seen 100 other videos that talk about not hooking bolt snap directly on here. I'll show you how I like to set it up so that we don't have that bolt snap pop off, creating a mess. So once you get the line rolled back up, I'm just going to push that bead through one of the holes. Pick one that'll fit through. put the knot on too tight. Can't get the bead to do its thing right, so we're just gonna loosen that knot a little bit. Get some more room to play with. Push that through, get the knot through, pull the whole thing up nice and snug. Then we take the double ender, clip it on, turn the double ender around, wrap it once, twice, 3 times. The rest of it, we're just gonna wrap around the double ender till you get to the end. And this way you can leave it loose. It's not banging, it's not popping off, it's not coming undone, and you can still use the double ender to clip it off wherever you need to. And to deploy it, just unwind it. Clip that off, pull that out, do whatever you need to do. And then when you're done, again, push the bead through. Pull through, nice and tight. Once, twice, 3 times, 1, 2. That's about all I'm gonna get on that. And there's your spool. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, check out decompressioninterval.com. Have a great day.
Decompression schedule complete. It's time to gear up and splash. See you in the water. Until next time, this has been the Deco Chamber.
Please note, we are not a scuba diving training facility. Diving is a serious sport that contains risks. It can be a lot of fun, but it can also kill you. Scuba diving places human beings in an environment they are not adapted to. Proper training and equipment are necessities to dive. Our discussions are meant to share diving experiences. None of our discussions should be considered scuba diver training. Our discussions will not qualify anyone to try anything we have discussed. You must be certified to dive and experienced. If you are, have fun. If you are not, get certified before you dive and then dive with a buddy. A lot. Experience everything you learn and do not rush your training. Do not dive outside your comfort zone or limits of your training or try anything we talk about. The opinions presented here are those of the hosts and guests. They are not necessarily those of any sponsor or advertiser.